You're not struggling because you're lazy or unmotivated. You're struggling because you think working harder is the answer. See, you're too busy trying to do it all, burning yourself out trying to be the hero. And you've convinced yourself that if you just push through, just manage your time better and don't bother other people, that you'll finally get ahead. But that's the lie keeping you stuck in a self-created cycle that you don't even see. Now, you don't have a time management problem, you have an energy management problem. And it's not for a lack of effort, it's not for a lack of time, it's because you have a lack of strategy that prioritizes your energy and focus appropriately. If you keep grinding the way you always have been, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle, overworked, overwhelmed, and wondering why nothing's changing. But today, we break that cycle before it breaks you. So welcome to video 2 in this 3-part video series, the High Performance Blueprint. First video of this series, I expose why hard work alone will never be enough and why success won't save you from your problems. So if you missed that video, go back and watch it before you watch this one because each of these videos builds into the next one. And I put a link down in the description below this video to make it easy for you to go click and watch it. But now it's time to move from awareness to execution. Because let's be real, knowing why you're overwhelmed isn't enough. Knowledge without action is just wasted potential. Now, you don't need more information. You just need a system that actually works for you and that's based on taking action. And that's exactly what I'm giving you in this video. A simple 3-shift framework to break free from overwhelm and start performing at the highest level. So here are 3 things that need to change right now. Number 1, stop reacting. Start strategizing. So you control your day instead of it controlling you. Number 2, optimize your energy for high performance. Because if your metabolic health is shot, you'll stay stuck in a cycle of fatigue and burnout. Number 3, leverage the 1% rule for compounding progress. People often overlook the small, consistent improvements that stack up over time and that actually don't leave you burning out. If you master these 3, you'll break free from survival mode and start executing at the highest level. And that's what this video is all about. But before we dive in, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Josh Perry, a personal performance coach helping leaders and teams and hardworking professionals elevate their performance so that way they can create a greater impact in the areas of life that matter most to them. Now, I work with small business owners, executives, parents, doctors, athletes, and even government professionals. My approach? Cut through the noise. Now, I help my clients regulate their nervous system, optimize their mindset and metabolic health, and build rock-solid systems that keep them focused, resilient, energized, and execute at the highest level. But here's what you really need to know about me. I spent over a decade competing as a professional freestyle BMX athlete. Dew Tour, X Games, FIS World Series, you name it. I pushed my mind and body to the absolute limit, and I did it all while battling multiple brain tumors, TBIs, and countless other injuries from the sport. I decided to walk away from that dream career because I saw a bigger mission, helping people break free from the cycles that hold them back and step into their highest potential. And that's why we're here. So let's dive into today's video, the 3-shift framework for breaking free from overwhelm. Shift number 1, move from reacting to strategizing. The problem is that most people wake up already losing the day. Before they even had a moment to think, they're buried in emails, messages, and putting out fires trapped in this reaction mode. And the result? They spend their day reacting instead of making real progress. Now, breaking free from reaction mode starts with intentional rituals that put you back in control before the world demands your attention. Your first actions each morning sets the trajectory for your entire day. If you start in reaction mode, you'll stay in reaction mode. If you start in proactivity mode, you'll stay productive. So here are 3 morning rituals for strategic focus so that way you can start the day off right. First, realize that distraction kills progress and you must protect your priorities first. So lock in your 3 mission critical tasks before you check your inbox, social media, texts, or calls. Now, if you don't have a clear mission, comment mission below and I'll send you a simple framework that'll guide you into creating one today. So that way you never waste energy or time working on the wrong things again. Second, you can use breath work, movement, or neurosensory exercises to ground yourself and regulate stress. Now, most people don't realize that they're running on stress and reacting to their environment. I refer to this as living at effect to your circumstances instead of choosing how you want to respond. Grounding allows you to get back into your body from your mind and notice if you're activated or not. And then you decide which steps you're going to take rather than getting set into this autopilot mode, distracted by everything else. Third, tackle your most important tasks before responding to external demands. Some call this eating the frog, handling the hardest, most important thing before distractions creep in. Now, this takes pressure and anxiety out of the equation and builds momentum towards what matters most. So just like the morning sets the tone for your day, your evening determines whether you recharge or carry today's stress into tomorrow. Because without closure, your brain keeps the cycle going. So here are 3 evening rituals for mental closure to help you wind down, shift out of work mode, and close the mental loops, so that way you can wake up feeling clear, focused, and ready to execute. The first thing you can do is a 5-minute brain dump, either when you get home or before you leave the office. So that way you can switch from work mode to home mode. This allows you to unload unfinished tasks and thoughts to clear up the mental clutter and lighten the anxiety load. So just dump your thoughts on some paper or use ChatGPT voice to organize your thoughts and to-dos, so that way they stop running in the background of your brain. Now, whatever you can do to free the mental chatter as much as you can, so that way you have a chance at winding down and resting. Second, review and adjust your priorities. Audit your day. What moved the needle? What didn't? Ask yourself, did I complete my task for the day? Something is either completed or it's not. And if it's not, just brainstorm why and if it needs to be adjusted or if it's not a true priority. Or maybe you got distracted, which is okay because now you're aware of that bottleneck and can work to solve it for tomorrow. So just adjust tomorrow's focus based on what needs to change from the work that you've done today and your findings. Third, let's talk about stress offloading. The last thing you want to do before bed is the news, some work emails, or anything overstimulating like intense workouts or even consuming alcohol, at least a few hours before bed. These all fire up your nervous system, messing with your ability to wind down and get true rest. Now, a lot of people think that alcohol helps them sleep, but here's the truth. It just sedates you while wrecking deep sleep stages that your body actually needs to recover. Elite performance starts with elite recovery. Protect your sleep the same way you would protect your family. The main concept you need to remember is that your morning and evening rituals act as bookends that protect your energy and set you up for the success. If you don't guard your energy, you have no room to complain about burnout. Speaking of energy, shift number 2. Optimize your metabolic health. That way you can increase your energy and sustain high performance. See, most leaders, professionals, and parents are stuck in a survival mode trap, pushing through exhaustion. They skip meals, they rely on caffeine and willpower to push through their day, only to crash later and wind down with alcohol and processed junk food. Now, these things aren't inherently bad. The real issue is the lack of awareness to the relationship you have with them and how they compound over time. Because this is what turns into habits that drain your energy instead of fueling it. So instead of forcing productivity through burnout, you need to build biological energy reserves through small, high-impact habits. Now, by optimizing sleep, hydration, nutrition, and movement, you eliminate mental crashes, boost resilience, and sustain high performance without needing a drastic lifestyle overhaul. So here are 3 key metabolic health and energy boosting strategies. Number 1, optimize your sleep. I know this is very triggering. Sleep, though, is the foundation of high performance, and Dr. Matthew Walker refers to it as the best free health insurance policy that we have. So your brain is only as sharp as your sleep quality. Without proper sleep, your cognitive, emotional, and physical energy all suffer. So here are 2 cost-free tactical changes that you can make tonight. First, set a consistent bedtime and wake window. Aim to keep a 30-minute window for sleep and wake times most nights of the week. The more consistent, the better. What I mean by a 30-minute window is if you go to bed at 10, aim for 9:45 to 10:15, something like that. If you wake up at 6, aim for 5:45 to 6:15. Try to do that as many times a week as you can. Second, let's talk about cutting down screen time at night. If you have to use screens, or if you just prefer to use screens, then throw in some blue light blocking glasses an hour or 2 before bed. I personally use the Roku brand. I'm not sponsored or affiliate, it's just what I like. But honestly, the best move if you're still not sleeping well, ditch the screens altogether and swap them for something low key. Some stretching, breath work, reading, a conversation, a board game. Try this for an hour before bed and see how much better your sleep may improve. And the key concept here is flexibility wins. If you stress about your sleep, you defeat the purpose. So be disciplined and allow for going off the path. That's how you make high performance a sustainable part of your life and enjoy your life. Number 2, energy crashes aren't just from overworking. They're often caused by feeding your body the wrong fuel and dehydrating it. First, you want to prioritize protein in whole foods. Most adults don't get enough protein, but they eat too many processed foods just loaded with unnecessary calories. The result? Unstable blood sugar, energy dips, weight gain, anxiety, brain fog, and the list goes on. So you want to aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight and prioritize whole foods over processed foods as much as you can. The second thing you can do is hydrate strategically. Drink about 80 ounces of water daily, adding electrolytes or pink salt, especially before caffeine. Now, you don't want to just down caffeine first thing in the morning because your brain needs time to clear adenosine, which is sleep pressure that builds up throughout the day, and melatonin. So waiting to drink caffeine can actually improve your alertness and prevent midday crashes, but it'll actually give you that boost you're looking for when you consume it when you do this right. Now, the thing about electrolytes is a low electrolytes equals low performance because they're electrical signaling molecules. Electrolytes fuel nerve function, cognition, and recovery, and when they're low, headaches, brain fog, fatigue, and cramps can creep in. So keeping them balanced keeps you sharp. And the third thing is movement. Most people get stuck in this paradox of being too tired to exercise, but tired because they don't exercise. Movement builds energy capacity over time, and it helps you regulate your metabolic system, which is critical for sustained performance. So here are 3 simple ways to add movement this week. Start with your morning. Add 10 to 20 minute walks to get your blood flowing, improve focus, and it sets the tone for the day. Don't underestimate the power of daily walks, because they can help balance your blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, aid in recovery, and help regulate your stress. The second thing you can do is take 2 to 3 movement breaks throughout the day, especially if you sit for hours, which can wreck your circulation, focus, and energy levels. You want to just take short breaks to reset your brain and your body. Move between meetings, stretch, take a call while walking, step outside, get some sunlight, because your body and mind need these breaks to perform at your best. The third thing is prioritize resistance training at least 2 to 3 times a week for 30 minutes a session. Your muscle mass controls a large portion of your metabolic rate, which determines how much energy your body burns on a daily basis. Resistance training is one of the main signals for muscle synthesis, protein being the other, which is why it's critical to get protein. More muscle equals more energy. More energy equals better focus, better regulation, better endurance, and more resilience. Shift number 3. Use the 1% rule to make compounding progress. The 1% rule is how you create long-term success without burning out. Because big wins come from small, consistent actions, not massive overhauls. The problem is that most people burn out because they try to change too much at once. They set these huge, unsustainable goals, they struggle to keep up, and then they fall off track. Now that failure turns into a story that they tell themselves. Oh, I just can't succeed. See, I knew I couldn't do it. And then all these other things that come along, which only reinforce the cycle of frustration and self-doubt. So instead of all that all or nothing thinking, focus on tiny daily improvements that can compound over time. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a week, but underestimate what they can achieve in a year. Now take saving money as an example. If you were to save $10 a day instead of $50 once a week, by the end of 30 days, you'd have $100 more than the $50 a week. The same principle applies to fitness, nutrition, sleep, and personal growth. It's not rocket science, but if you don't start now, you'll look back in 6 months wishing you had. So here's how the 1% rule works. First, start with the easiest win. Pick one small habit that takes minimal effort but has a big impact. The easier it feels, the more likely you'll stick with it. Second, stack habits gradually. Improve one thing per week or one thing per month instead of trying to do a massive overhaul of everything at once, because small changes add up over time. And third, measure progress, not perfection. Forget about getting it perfect, it's an illusion. The goal is consistency over intensity, because that way you can focus on the inputs that create the outputs that you're after and stay consistent even if the day isn't perfect. Now, some real world examples of the 1% rule in action are sleep improvements. Instead of saying I need to get 8 hours of sleep, try I'll go to bed 10 to 15 minutes earlier tonight for a week. So if you normally go to bed at 11 and get up at 6, start at 10:45 going to sleep. Do this for a week or 2 and then adjust it by another 10 to 15 minutes. Now, when you keep doing this, you'll naturally hit that 8-hour mark of sleep, or 10 p.m. in this example. Instead of I need to drink more water, start with maybe I'll drink a glass of water the first thing I wake up in the morning. Once this becomes habit or routine, add another intentional glass at lunchtime. Add a third glass over dinner. And then maybe over time, once this glass of water habit's built in, you add electrolytes. Because over time, this compounds into consistent hydration without feeling forced. It becomes a part of who you are, not just what you do. Here's the key takeaway to remember. Success isn't about massive, dramatic changes. It's built on small, daily shifts that compound over time. If you struggle to embrace slow, steady progress, that's typically a sign of nervous system dysregulation. And it's part of the problem. And when you focus on progress over perfection, the results naturally add up. For better or worse. The difference, awareness and intention. Now, before we move on, here's what I need you to remember. Mastering these shifts will take you from overwhelmed and reactive to focused and in control. It'll change your life, especially when you double down on the inputs within your control. So no, you don't need more hours in a day. You just need a better system. You don't need to push harder. You need to work smarter. You don't need a time machine, you need to maximize the opportunity in front of you. Now, most people stay stuck in overwhelm because they're consuming so much information, but they never apply it. Don't let that be you. In the next video, I'm gonna show you exactly how all this applies, and I'm gonna bring you through a framework that you can start executing at the highest level without burning out. But before we get there, I wanna give you something to help start you applying these changes today. Now, I put together a free step-by-step playbook designed to help you break free from reactive overwhelm and start executing strategically. Inside of it, you'll get the strategic morning and evening rituals to structure your day for maximum focus and energy, the energy optimization blueprint to fix fatigue and increase high performance capacity, the 1% rule tracker that helps you track daily progress without burning out, and the tactical execution planner to turn big goals into daily execution. And if you're serious about reclaiming your time, energy, and focus, grab your free kit now. The link's in the description for you to get it. In the final video of this 3-part series, I'm going to walk you through a 3-part system for high performance. So hit subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next video, and I appreciate you being here.